hopefully in the next few months, because it's really exciting stuff. I've always worked in the nonprofit sector. It's just something I've always been really passionate about. And about 3.5 years ago, I was approached by this organization called EveryoneOn. And EveryoneOn was born out of the Clinton administration. Back when the internet was really coming alive in the early 90s, they termed this phrase the digital divide. They saw that there was going to be people who were going to be able to afford it and those who can't. So what they started to do was they were looking at, when a big company would merge, such as when Comcast and NBC merged, they would carve out a piece of their broadband for low-income individuals to get at a reduced rate. So we started, after Clinton came out of office and Bush took over, they started a group within the FCC called Connect to Compete. And Connect to Compete would go around the country and make sure that when we have these big mergers, that there's broadband offered for low-income individuals. And when I say low-income, they still have to pay about like $10 a month. And some people may be familiar with like the Comcast Internet Essentials program. It was like the early stages of that. So it was a really good program, but they felt like they could have done more. So they branched off out of the FCC and they formed this nonprofit, EveryoneOn, in about 2012. And what they did originally was they were focusing on large cities such as Boston, LA, Chicago, New York City, where there's these huge pockets of poverty. But what we realized was they would never come to like a state like New Jersey because they're very focused on K through 12 students. And as we know, here in New Jersey, our biggest school district is Newark with about 30,000 students. Whereas you go to LA or Miami, you're talking about school districts with 100,000 students and then some. So we started this grassroots effort where we started connecting smaller schools. So what we found, and then we started working outside this realm of $10 a month and started talking to bigger ISPs. So one that came on board, which has been a great partner for us, was Sprint. Sprint partnered with the Obama administration in 2013 and they launched Connect Ed. I don't know, has anyone ever heard of Connect Ed? Okay, great, something new. So what they did was Sprint said, look, $10 a month could get really pricey if you really are struggling to get by. So they just came up with Connect Ed program where they would give free Wi-Fi for any student on 4G LTE network, as long as you were in the Sprint covered zone. The only cost was for a hotspot. So I actually I had one of them handy. So they would pass out these hotspots, which cost $75, and the kids would get Wi-Fi. So anyone who has young kids or who have grandkids probably realize, my oldest son is in 4th grade. He has about an hour of work to do online every day. So we found that by giving students like this, we saw huge gains educationally. In Jersey City in PS33, their reading went up significantly. They had this reading program called ION, and I love this principle. The principle goes, using this great program, it's called ION, but only 20% of the students are using it. And I go, well, are they all connected at home? He goes, I don't know. So we got on this little hotspot thing. He went from 20% to 90%. So it was really great results. We also found that a lot of the students who were those 20% that were doing their work, they were sitting outside McDonald's and just tapping into their Wi-Fi outside. There's a really good article in Charlotte out of North Carolina where they called it fries for Wi-Fi. So the fries were the cheapest thing the students could buy, so they paid $1 for fries, and then they got the Wi-Fi. So we were really excited about this program with Connect Ed. Through it, we were able to connect 50,000 students. And Sprint loved it because they got a lot of publicity out of it. And they are a for-profit company, so it doesn't make sense. So we got back with them last year, and they said, well, what hurdles were you facing? And we said, well, the $80 a month for this was expensive for a lot of school districts. So if you're like, Newark, it's going to add up. You're not going to do whole district-wide. So Sprint came back to us and said, okay, we'll give away the devices for free. He said, so there's no cost at all. So now we just launched back in September of last year, 2016, we launched the 1 Million Project, where Sprint's going to give 1 million hotspots, smartphones, tablets, and laptops to students so that they get the devices and they get the connectivity. And then what we also brought is the biggest thing is we want digital literacy, because we don't want a situation where a kid gets connected and they don't know what to do with it. So I was actually just in the city earlier today with College Board, which works with Khan Academy, My Digital Learning, and Scully's, which is a small nonprofit that brings all the different scholarship opportunities into kind of one site where you can apply for all of them. So it was a great meeting, and we're doing 11 pilot cities right now. Patterson is one of them. We also are doing in Chicago, Boston, Charlotte, Miami, and a couple others that are losing my thought right now. And we're going to do a full launch in September with 250,000 devices. So we're really excited about that. So 250,000 devices will be given out by September 2017. The other program we're also working on is Lifeline. For those who are familiar with it, back in the 70s and 80s, there was an issue, especially in like West Virginia rural areas, where people didn't have phone service. So they had this Lifeline program where it was subsidized. They would subsidize the cost for rural and low-income individuals. In 2016, the FCC made broadband part of the Lifeline program. So they would give you limited data, but they would subsidize that $10 a month cost I spoke about earlier. They would subsidize $9.25 of it. So as you can imagine, most companies said, well, we're not going to do the hassle of 75 cents. We'll just take the $9.25. Unfortunately, so we did a lot of work with the White House with that and FCC. Unfortunately, that program is beginning to be rolled back as of 4 o'clock today. It just came through the wire. The new chairman of FCC, and I didn't know this, that once you pass something, there's a 30-day window where they could pull it back. So we had this company called Kajit, which is a for-profit company that buys space out from Sprint and Verizon. We were thrilled because Verizon doesn't do anything. So like, wow, we got actually Verizon line because they're the biggest network around here. So they were going to give 6 gigabytes to anyone that's it's a veteran, anyone on SNAP, or anyone in public housing. So we worked with that, with Kajit. We had 6 gigabytes. We're really excited about it. We were on call with them this morning, actually at 10 a.m. And like I said, then they just kind of pulled that out from under us. So now we're kind of gonna retool and bring that program back. But we're hoping we could get them reapplying again and working again. But it's so when I was doing all this work, and I was actually down in Kansas City, I think a month before your field day. And when I was in Kansas City, they did a mesh network through their public housing units. And I thought it was the coolest thing. And I met Randy, Ed, and Carl, and they were telling me about this mesh network that they wanted to create in Fairlawn. I said, mesh network? I was just in Kansas City. I was just learning all of that. I was like, what do you guys want to do here? And of course, it had a huge interest for me and some of the work I'm doing. And what's interesting, just a little side note, I was never into technology. I'm not one of those tech guys. It didn't really interest me. Like I said, I was a nonprofit guy. And it was funny, one of the last meetings I was at, it's probably about 6 months ago. And I always tell people, like, look, I'm a for-profit, I'm not a tech guy, but I'll get into all the tech stuff with them. Like, you can't say that anymore, Kurt. You're now a tech guy. So, we were learning about what they were doing here with all the mesh network, and they approached me about creating one for Fairlawn and widening up the scope. And I was thrilled. Once I heard that, I was like, I'm all in. We put it on a work session for the at one of our agenda meetings. The whole council met with them. They discussed what we wanted to do, and the only requirement they said, talk to Neil Shore. He handles a lot of the radio stuff here. And I know they're working with him, and we're really excited because we're really looking to expand what we're doing here in Fairlawn as well. And then just talking to Ed actually about just the publicity stuff. Anything you guys are doing that want to do anything big, please let me know. As I said, as the Deputy Mayor of Community Affairs, we'll definitely put it on the borough's website.
That's great.
We do email blasts. I think that's the biggest thing we want to do. When you guys are doing something great, we want to make sure the town's aware of it, especially like something like Field Day. I was happy to stumble upon Field Day, and I think it's the greatest thing. One of the great things we do in town. It's something different. I think that's what's so awesome about it. I don't think many towns do something like this, so it's great to stumble across something like that. And we were just talking about he is a congressman here, Josh Gottheimer, but before he was a congressman, he was the chief counsel for the FCC and worked for many years for Microsoft. So Ed was mentioning how the Public Committee was thinking about having him get here. I emailed his schedule. It would just send me a text message back, so I have his email that I'll share with Ed. And I would love for him to come here and discuss some of the stuff he did. I don't want to send another politician to you guys, so it's not for that reason. It's just really based on his background. I think he's a wealth of knowledge and can share a lot of what he does.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I know I said a lot. Is there any questions? Or?
Yeah, as for the mesh network, who are you looking to log into it?
I'm sorry?
Who are you looking to log into it? What it?
Well, do you want to touch on that one?
Well, we've had some brief conversations with Neil Shore, as Kurt mentioned, and there were a number of possibilities that we discussed with him. The thing that Neil seemed to be most interested in is to be able to set up video cameras, and to be able to deploy them instead of permanently, perhaps temporarily, and move them as needed. So they could do, say, surveillance of
Okay.
the bridge going over the river, during flood conditions, or the intersection of 208 and 4, during bad weather, or some sort of incident. So that seemed to be the thing that was most interesting to Neil when we spoke to him. So what I demonstrated this evening, and you can go take a look at it after the meeting if you like, I brought in a couple of cameras. In fact, I've got a new fairly fancy camera that I recently acquired, showed to Kurt, and we're going to show to Neil as soon as he's available. And it does 360 rotation and pan and zoom and all of that. And I kind of think that's what Neil was looking for, that kind of capability. So I want to be able to show him the device and how this might meet his needs.
Good.
And then we're going to try and figure out if that'll work for him, or if there's some other requirements that he might have.
Okay.
I think
If
one
I
of
could
the
comment, one of the things that Neil liked was the cost, because first of all,
No.
the club is intending to pay for this privately, whereas this would have been $50,000, $100,000 for the borough to do.
Right.
We can do it personally for 1,000,
Well,
2,000, whatever, spread among the members.
The camera setup all in with, tripod and battery boxes and camera and a computer and, some other gear is, well under $1,000. The camera, the fancy camera that I've got back there, that by itself, as nice as that is, $330. So, yeah, I mean, this is 2017 now, folks. The price of this stuff keeps dropping, and I was blown away. I said, this is something an individual, many of us, not everybody, but many can afford. It's certainly the type of equipment that's not going to break the town budget.
Yeah, and I think just starting small too with what advertising and growing from there.
Mhm.
I think one of the other things we discussed is even some traffic studies that we do. I'm sure everyone's seen the speed tables that we have around town. A lot of people request those. What we often have to do is have a police officer sit there, do a traffic study, how many people are crossing during all different hours, just where there's no repetition. And if we have a camera there, I mean that really saves us a lot of money.
Have we been able to bridge out of our ports in and out for cameras yet?
I'm sorry?
Have we been able to bridge ports in and out for the internet,
Yeah,
for cameras?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
We think we're completely open, right, Randy?
yeah, we are, yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's-
Yeah,
we're-
don't abuse it, but.
No,
we
that,
think we're
no,
completely
no, that's not what I mean, that's not what I
I
mean.
know, it's not.
That's not what I'm talking about, that's not what I'm talking about.
There are still a few minor issues, particularly with respect to reliability and bandwidth that I'm working on.
Yeah, no,
But
no,
for the
no.
most part, we're.
I'm talking about port translation, like he was saying, somebody outside in a cop car will be on one network, the mesh will be on another one. Can the
Oh,
ports
well,
translate
no,
over into
well,
the camera,
yeah,
or would he have to be inside?
Theoretically, it's possible to do that,
Right.
but for a lot of practical reasons, you wouldn't want to do that. So
Okay.
again, we want to, and this is something we'll need to talk through more with Kurt and with Neil and the organization about, what is the best way to set up a network like that? And given that you're operating it under Part 97, the amateur radio licensing requirements.
Right.
And so we haven't discussed that fully with Neil, but we will. And again, I don't see that as being any hindrance on what he's trying to accomplish.
Okay, very good.
Great. Well, thank you all for having me. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for being
I do apologize, I do have to run. I did tell my kids I was going to tuck them into bed tonight. But I'm going to leave my cards here. I'm going to leave my council cards,
Yes.
as well as my Everyone On cards. So if you have any questions, we work a lot with different organizations throughout the nation that do similar things like you guys do, creating mesh networks. So if you ever want me to get you in touch with anyone, I would love to share some of the connections, especially in Kansas City. Kansas City right now has a great group of individuals, have all these individual clubs that are doing a lot of great work. and anything with town, I'm more than happy to help. I love what you guys are doing here. I really appreciate the work.
We're honored to have you
Thank
here.
you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.